cultural or social aspect. And in this one, the color and some special form of mountains as well as the presence of mountains. So you see in 4 pictures we enjoy the landscape because of 4 things. So before doing the analysis, so we should identify proper criteria. So I will next try to show you some of the potential parameters that can be used for visual quality analysis. So when we are doing the analysis, the very first type of parameters that we can use are landscape elements. So we enjoy the landscape because of its landforms and topographical features. So if there are mountains and if there are valleys, we enjoy the landscape. So these are important parameters. And in the same way, land cover. So land cover may be vegetation or waterways or the built environment. So maybe this will influence our landscape experience. And also this is an illustration. So maybe we will enjoy this landscape because of this nice form or because of the presence of some water and some vegetation. And if this is a good house, we will like it, or if this is a bad house, we will hate it. So the man-made elements should also be assessed. And also we are sensitive to the landscape patterns. So maybe the shape of these will make us like it or hate it. And also the lines along the lines that are prominent in the landscape will influence the way we experience the landscape. So in the same way, color and texture are also important parameters of the landscape perception. And also landscape character or landscape units. So if some of the previously mentioned landscapes are occurring frequently as either individually or as combinations, people are sensitive to that. So you can understand this. So this is a scene from UK. So there is a waterway and nearby there are houses and the upper lands are not occupied. So this the characteristics of this space is having some habitation closer to the water. So as if you pass along the road, you will recognize this as, okay, this area is having this kind of habitation pattern. So this is a landscape characteristic. So especially in UK, where they have this kind of flat lands and wider landscape, they like to use landscape characteristics to understand the landscape. So maybe this is an example of one landscape characterization in one part of UK. So maybe they have categorized the area into different types. Maybe farmed and river terraces, historic settlements, maybe floodplains, open farmlands. So maybe they think these different areas have different landscape qualities. So as a result, landscape characteristics is also important. And also finally, so think about how you will feel as you walk along the road. Maybe what you see from here will change as you go here. Maybe when you go here, you will see some different places. And as you go here, you will see something entirely different. So as you move along this road, your experience will change. So it will, if it is having a nice sequence, then you will feel nice. So the sequential view is also important. So we are very sensitive to the sequential view. So as a result, maybe in analyzing the landscape, we should consider the sequential views. So these are some of the parameters that we can use in landscape analysis techniques. And one special characteristics of landscape analysis in the case of roads is, road is a long thing. So as you move along from one point point to another point, everything will change. So in the case of landscape analysis along a route, you will have to do the analysis on a regular basis. Maybe most often used basis is you will divide this area into different segments based on a particular rule, maybe because of due to distance or due to similarity of landscape, and then you will define landscape units, and thereafter you will conduct the analysis segment by segment. So this is an important thing that you have to consider on the assessment of the roads. So now we saw different landscapes are experienced or enjoyed or hated for different reasons. So how should we quantify? So when you are selecting a suitable technique, maybe there are two things to consider. First thing is nature of the existing landscape. So maybe what I can use for the landscape analysis in Japan may be different from what I can use for my own country. So you should decide your parameters based on the particular landscape, and also based on the need for assessment. So maybe if you want to do the assessment as a part of EIA, we should not use extensive inventory methods, but we should try to evaluate the change in the visual quality. So need of the assessment has to also be considered. So so when we are selecting the appropriate techniques, the techniques can be of two types. First type is the techniques which considers the landscape, and they will consider the elements in the landscape. So they will make an inventory. What is where? Where are trees? Where are the maybe ugly visual elements? And they will create an inventory, or they will map these elements. So this kind of techniques can be used in landscape designation application. Or on the and later, if you want to improve your method, maybe you can add some advanced analysis techniques, and then this can be enhanced and used for designation applications. But on the other side, maybe some people will try to evaluate the landscape in terms of user preference. Maybe they will ask, they will rate the landscape based on whether you like or not, or whether it's beautiful or not, whether it's colorful or not. So this kind of psychological parameters can be used. So these techniques used your preference rating, and generally this kind of techniques are used for assessment of visual quality change. Maybe you have a new project, then how did the visual quality change from initial to post-project stage. So this preference rating can be used for the visual quality change assessment. And if you want to improve your approach, maybe you can improve the landscape analysis as well, and analyze the visual quality change. So the techniques can differ from here to here. So if you read the literature, there could be so many different approaches to this. So I will present you 5 such approaches. So there are no hard and fast rules, but let's see how we can combine these two and get a good approach. So first I will start with the technique 1. So in the technique 1, this is an intrinsic quality method. Intrinsic quality is inherent quality of the landscape. So maybe as I have shown you, maybe you understand along a particular area there are some particular farmlands, or some nice houses, or some nice vegetation. So you will identify special intrinsic qualities of that area and then map that. So this is that approach. So first you have to identify that kind of intrinsic qualities, and then maybe you should identify the natural intrinsic qualities and visual elements, and then draw it on a map, and then also you will identify the man-made items and locate it on the map. And later maybe you can judge, okay, these are the positive natural elements, these are the negative natural elements, and then study the map and then you can use it. So maybe I haven't got the details, but as an example, in North Dakota they went for scenic byway application, and as part of that they have used this approach. So this kind of approach, what they will do is they will just judge the intrinsic qualities and then plot it in a map. So this is inventory or mapping only. The next one is landscape element rating. So maybe this again you can you can combine the landscape analysis. So you will make the inventory or identify types of inventories and do kind of like rate the qualities. So this is landscape element rating. So maybe you can divide the road into landscape segments and then evaluate the landscape segments based on different pre-identified landscape features. So let's see this with an example. So this is one type of application. So what they have done was they have divided the area into landscape units, and then they have identified some parameters which can describe the landscape in this area, and then they have rated. So for an example, in landscape unit 2, landform is very poor, so they have scored it as 1. But maybe here in landscape unit 5, land use is average, very high, so they have given a score. So like this they have given a score to each of these unit in terms of these parameters. They have considered both positive and negative parameters. So as a result, you can see for landscape unit 1, you can add all these things and get the total value. So maybe total scenic value for that segment is -26. So it's a very bad area. Maybe there are some good areas as well. So this technique as a result considers, partially considers, not fully, the visual elements and then do the analysis. And so they can use this data when they are applying for scenic designation. Maybe they can tell, okay, these areas are good, so please give us designation. And also they can try to improve these areas. So that is technique 2. And the technique 3 is a more complicated technique. So this is a technique that we have used in our own lab. So in this one, we considered visual elements and landscape forms, and then we mapped everything, and then later we went for a rating. So what we did was we divided the whole area into suitable landscape unit. Since we had so many visual elements, we decided to go on a distance basis, and then we plotted the different visual elements and landscape along the route on the map. And then for each of the elements we have given a rating. So I will show you some examples of that. Here we prepared a landscape map. So our landscape map consisted of 3 parts. In the center we plotted, so you can see the route is going like this, and then in one side we have plotted the landscape configurations, and on the other side we have plotted the positive and negative visual elements. So if we see this side, maybe at this point we have plotted how does it look like. So here we have plotted things like whether you can see the mountains, what is the shape of the road cross section, or whether you can see the railway line, and as you move along the road you can observe the mountains, and you can observe the waterways. So maybe you can as